When I was a kid, I always wanted to be a performer. And being young with an unlimited amount of energy, I really enjoyed the thrill of being on stage and seeing people enjoy what I had to offer, even at a very young age. I just loved the feeling. So, growing up, I was pretty much a really I was pretty much a hyper kid. Like, even my parents couldn't stop me from doing the most outrageous shit. Like, I would climb walls, I would almost tilt down TVs and stuff. Like, I was a menace. And I guess the only thing that could, like, calm me down was dancing, because whenever I would dance, it would, like, all the energy I had in my body, it would just drain down. And you know, I guess it was kind of a win-win situation between me and my parents, because at the same time I had fun while dancing, while they didn't have to worry about me pushing down another closet or whatever. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed performing, even though at a young age I had stage fright. But at the same time, oh my god, I love dancing. I love doing stuff on stage. But I was scared at the same time, because I feel like the reason why I was scared of performing as a kid was, I guess, making a mistake and embarrassing myself in front of people, which was like, you know, I mean, I guess it was a valid reason for me to get nervous whenever I performed, but uh, actually, but now that I thought about it a while ago, even right now, the amount of anxiety or stage fright I had as a child was like not really normal for a 6 year old. Then I thought about it a little more, then I realized that it was pretty much connected with how it was raised or whatever. Cause as a kid, I was like encouraged to like dance, perform, or whatever, but at the same time, my parents were pretty strict about my academics, so they had my grandma tutor me every after school, like from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. And I mean, it was helpful, but at the same time, it was pretty abusive, because like every single time I got something wrong, or I got an answer wrong or whatever, my grandma would like slap the shit out of me and I would cry sometimes. And I guess that's where my fear of making mistakes came from, cuz um it was pretty bad cuz even after that, I still get mad at myself, or like I get upset when I make mistakes or someone points out a mistake I made. So I guess that's why. Because at the same time, I was also humiliated for making a mistake. Even my own parents would, whenever I would like do something wrong, even if it was like the smallest thing, they would get mad and like tell me how stupid I am, use your initiative or whatever. And even still today, I get pretty upset when they say that. Um, uh, and at the same and at the same time, with my parents wanting me to solely focus on my academics at that time, well, while still performing, they encouraged it. I said that already. And at the same time, like them encouraging me to continue doing what I love, but at the same time, they wanted me to heavily focus on my academics. I actually kind of hated academics because of that, because I wanted to do what I loved, but this thing was getting in the way, which was school. But at the same time, I didn't want to, because it was the only thing that was keeping my parents proud of me, because I guess they were supportive of my hobbies, but they were kind of lukewarm with the support. I mean, they let me take ballet classes, they let me take not cheer dance, cheerleading and cheer dance, both. I don't even know, but cheer in general. They were willing to invest money in those, but then all of a suddenly, they don't show as much support compared to when I get awards or like I get an academic achievement. So I was having mixed thoughts about it. Like they want me to be happy, but they aren't super. They want me to be happy with what I do, but they don't seem happy when I'm happy with what I do that makes me happy. But when I do well in academics or anything in that aspect, and suddenly they're super happy with me doing something that I absolutely hate, and they aren't really involved in my academics as much, except for the fact that they pay for my tuition, and that they like tell me to keep my grades up or else, or else. So I guess I formed some kind of deep hatred for my parents, rooted hatred, and like also with school, but at the same time I didn't want to like back down because I didn't want to disappoint them, and my parents were easily disappointed, so I just had to push through. And I guess at that age as a kid, I was pretty much blind to everything. But as a couple years, I was pretty blind by everything. But as time passed, I soon realized that my parents actually didn't really care about me. They actually just wanted to use me for, I don't know what sort of gain they wanted from me. But I have a sister. I have an older sister, right? So my older sister, with no other word or with no other way to say that, without any other way to say this, but my sister is like a late bloomer. She doesn't function as quickly as the normal kid would. So because of that, I had to mature on my own as a kid because I had no older figure to help me grow. Like my older sister, she was like, I guess, if I was 6 and she was, I don't, 8, I'm not gonna say 7. If I was 6 and she was 8, she had the mind of probably a 5-year-old. So I had nothing to do. So I just had to suck it up, grow some man balls or whatever, and just own it. I was basically the unofficial older child. Even though I was the younger one, I had to grow up. I had to mature at an early age, just so that we could function normally as siblings. And I guess I was kind of jealous with my sister, because my parents were like happy even with the smallest things that she did. Maybe because once again, she's a late bloomer. She doesn't really catch up with things. But when I do something that I'm really proud of, and it was something small, they would be like, "Oh, okay. Next time again." Like, huh? And the fact that they don't really care about her academics because they know that she's slightly not really much of an academic person, but more of a creative person. And yeah, right. She writes. I write. She listens to music. I listen to music. We're both equally creative, but it seems like my parents want me to be more intellectual than creative. That doesn't really make sense, does it? Because what I've noticed when I was a child is that my parents really encouraged her with like her baking and stuff, her doing stuff. But when I did it, they were like, "Okay, you can do that. Just focus on your academics. Do that because you're like more academically inclined or whatever for your age." I don't know, but I guess. Wow, actually realized. I guess that's the reason why I have so many root. Why I have. Actually, now that I realize it, I guess that's the reason why I have like a lot of rooted hatred for my family, mainly because I've felt so misunderstood and felt so um misconceptualized and like misread by everyone. Like they like it felt like my parents thought that I was enjoying my academic life, but no, in reality I really just wanted to perform. Like I was still performing and everything, but at the same time I was really frustrated because I didn't want to do school. But I had to do school because if I did not, they were going to be mad because I was the only capable sibling between the two of us. So, I mean, I had to do something. You know, I had to grow up. But I guess that's why. I mean, yeah, elementary, I was pretty much a proficient kid. Yeah, I was an honor student back then, but like when junior high or like when high school came around, when junior high school came around, I get at that point, I feel like my academic capabilities were like, well, it became worse. Maybe mainly because of the fact I low key developed depression during the pandemic, and I also had social anxiety due to the lack of social interaction I've had even as a child. So I was super I was super anxious. I was super nervous. I was like never in the mood for anything because a lot of people anticipate high school because it was gonna be fun. It's gonna be the peak of their life. But no, I was just anxious about it because all I've ever heard from my parents was that, oh, high school's gonna be hard, so you gotta do better than you gotta do better. Um gotta do more than what you can do or whatever. So I was pretty much nervous for everything that was gonna happen. So when high school came around, I think um I was so affected by the pressure my parents were putting me on since it was high school and it was going to be harder. That really affected my grades. I think because of all the like negative thoughts I've had in my mind, like, oh, what if I can't do this? What if I disappoint them? Bitch, I fucking did. My grades went down from a 90 plus down to a 89, I think. Yeah, that 89 is super bad. Some people think 89 is pretty good, but in my family, 89 is like outcast fucking grade or whatever. Like, even I couldn't handle the truth that my grades went down from a 90 plus to an 89. And I got so depressed at that time. And, I mean, at the same time, yeah, I was also doing extracurriculars. I was still dancing. They were okay with it. I got a couple scoldings for, like, wanting to continue dance in high school, but, you know, YOLO. But I guess the reason why the scolding got super bad for joining dance for extracurriculars was because my grades were super bad and dancing was the only thing keeping me alive. I love dancing. I love dancing. But it's just that my parents don't really see dance as something beneficial for me because they want me to focus more on academic centered activities. Like they wanted me to join the debate club. I mean, sure, but I had such anxiety I couldn't talk properly. I guess I could only talk to myself, really. That's what I'm doing. Um but you know, I guess at that stage in life I was, oh, I remember being super suicidal. back in high school. Yeah, junior high school. But I'm not gonna talk about that though. Like, um, I graduated junior high. Then it was time for senior high school, and I was like, I guess I had a change of mind or like a change of heart or whatever, change of, I don't know, but ever since senior high school started, I was like, time to start anew. I'm not gonna fuck this shit up again. Time to grow up, you know? So, yeah, I'm still gonna continue dance, but at the same time, I'm gonna have an academic comeback. I'm gonna become an honor student again. Now, but during senior high school, it was pretty hard because I was adapting to a new environment. And academically, I did better. I was pretty much a pushover sometimes with my classmates. I was a pushover to myself sometimes. I was a bit cocky sometimes because whatever the fuck I was on. I can't even remember because whenever I think about it, I get like chills. I get goosebumps. I don't want to think about it. But I was so academically pressured back in senior high school. I didn't even realize. I was trying to make an academic comeback, and I didn't even realize I was like low-key kind of destroying myself in my social life because I was so invested in my own grades, my own marks, my own school stuff. I actually didn't really make much friends outside of my classroom. And outside of my club, of course. So, I was pretty much stuck. But, yeah. Actually, even though, despite all efforts to become academically sufficient again, I became academically sufficient. I was back on the honors list, back on the honor roll. That's good at least. But at the same time, and like my parents were happy, so I was happy and everything. But what really fucked me up was that I didn't have the freedom to do anything because I was so involved and invested with my own academics, including the pressure of my own parents. Actually, my parents wouldn't even allow me to like join competitions or even performances because they wanted me to they wanted my grades to go up and be an honor student again. And since they were parents, I just followed them. I didn't really have any say in it. Not like I have any say in anything that they want me to do. But I really wanted to do stuff that I wanted to do, like go outside the country, join competitions, dance with other people. I've even wanted to take dance classes, but they don't allow me to do dance classes because they say it's a waste of money, waste of time. I should focus more on my academics. I'm sorry if I'm getting loud. It's just that I have a lot of anger inside of me when I think about it. Even though it looks like I'm not angry, but I'm just a really jolly person. It's how I cope. By being overly smiley, overly joyous, or whatever. But, senior high school passed. Now it's summer. Here I am. And right now, my parents actually initiated the college conversation. What was gonna be my major? What course am I gonna take? What program? Like what am I gonna do after undergrad? It's actually always been a conversation about me being a lawyer. I mean, ever since I was pretty young, I guess maybe 14 or 15 years old, they told me, oh, you should definitely be a lawyer. And low-key, it was kind of, don't mind my slippers, actually, it was low-key kind of a way of them telling me I was a bitch. Because I was a mean-ass fucking bitch. I was fighting with everyone in that house. So I guess it was kind of their way to, like, say, oh, you should be a lawyer. Because you're mean to everyone in the house. But the reason why I'm mean to everyone in the house is because I hate y'all. Y'all are low-key the reason why I have a bad life. because you guys were restricting me of what I wanted to do. I mean, you guys gave me the opportunity. You guys gave me the opportunity to do something that I love, but at the same time, you guys didn't want me to, because you guys wanted me to focus on something that you wanted to curate, which was my future. But I don't blame them. Thank you. Thank you, though. I'm really grateful that you wanted me to prioritize my academics, but I felt really, really, not considered. I didn't feel considered. Because my sisters got everything. Like, whatever they wanted to do, my parents were supportive. While I said, oh, I wanted to take this, I wanted to take that. But my parents, no. You can do whatever you want, but you have to do this. You have to do this because it's your future. I mean, I know what they're doing is like, they want me to have a good future. They don't want me to suffer or anything, but I feel kind of pressured because it's what they want, what not I want. Like, during the conversation of us and during the conversation we had for college and everything, it was like we were like deciding on what program I was gonna take. At first I said business administration. They said, that's kind of basic. There's no board exam. You need to take something harder. I was like, so you want me to suffer? I'm like, no. We just want you to have a good future. Because the harder college is, the harder your school life is, the more comfortable your adult life's gonna be. And I was like, they have a point. They had a point. But like, after business administration, I wanted to take what do you call it? I wanted to take psychology. I said, no, I want to take psychology. But my parents were heavily against it, and yeah, they were heavily against it. No, not psychology. You're gonna end up working as a cashier or something. You're gonna end up working as a barista. I was like, yeah, they're right. I don't want to do that. But like, I mean, after a while of consideration, my parents were like, since we want you to become a lawyer and we want you to take law school, because we already had a conversation about me after, like, postgraduate, I was going to go to law school to become a lawyer, but the problem was my undergraduate. So, actually, my parents wanted me to take something, like, wanted me to take a program that was close to law, so they made me take accountancy. And my strand in senior high school was Humes. I mean that was fine. It was if I was gonna be a lawyer, like a notarial lawyer or whatever, family lawyer, I was gonna take psychology and blah blah blah. But accountancy, I should have taken ABM, accountancy and business management, in senior high school if they wanted me to become an accountant. So now I'm pretty stressed about it. But it's not like, I'm up for a challenge, let's do it. But it's that the pressure of being exposed to something super new without like any basic knowledge. I mean, we had entrepreneurship in senior high school, but I don't think it was pretty much enough to like jot down the basics on accountancy. So I've been planning to like study earlier now that it's summer. So I borrowed my older sister's accountancy book because she took accountancy before me, but she gave up halfway and transferred to journalism. So I guess I'm following her footsteps and hopefully finish what she started. So yeah, being exposed to a new environment with very little knowledge was, oh gosh, now I feel very, very pressured now that I think about it. I'm gonna be thrown in a fucking pit, a fucking den with lions. Ah! Okay. Now, I mean, I'm the type of person to not get. I'm the type of person to like accept something hard, be like go somewhere new, learn something new. But it's just that I've heard accountancy is pretty hard. Not pre. It's one of the hardest programs, aside from like political sciences or like law, whatever, like any medical centered course or whatever. I heard accountancy is pretty hard. So like, I guess that's why I'm pretty pressured because it's gonna be hard. But the thought of it though, if I did well in my studies in college, that means I was gonna do well in the future. But at the same time, if I graduated with flying colors in college, with a bachelor's degree in accountancy, I was pretty much set for law school. But law school, that's another problem because my parents want me to study basic law while at the same time while being an accountancy student because they want me to be prepared before law school, and I'm like, accountancy sounds pretty hard enough. I don't know if I can handle having to study law at the same time. So actually me and my parents had a little discourse about it, but yeah, I had no choice. I had to do what they want me to do. I didn't have a choice. I didn't have a say. But yeah, my dad has some connections. Has some connections for my once I like get in law school or whatever. So I was pretty set. I'm pretty set. I'm pretty set and stuff. I'm probably gonna get a scholarship or whatever. I'll try to get a scholarship. Yeah, I'll try to get a scholarship. That ass. But the thought of being a lawyer, it sounds really hard. Especially being a corporate lawyer, which means I have to manage businesses and everything. And like be with like really high ranked people, fuck, even millionaires, shit. That sounds like kind of pressuring, both socially and like both in my job too, also in my job if I was a corporate lawyer. I mean, my parents say it like it's super easy. Oh, you're just gonna be in an office. You're gonna be dealing with like contracts. You're gonna be dealing with like legal settlements. Shit, I thought I heard something. Oops, legal settlements with like businesses and everything. But I mean, sure, I guess my job's gonna be pretty easy. But what kind of scares me is the process because I don't want to make mistakes. I don't want to like do bad because with the history of my parents being super pressuring on me in my academics, I guess I get super pressured because if I made a mistake, they were gonna get mad, and I didn't want them to get mad. I just wanted them to be proud of me. So whenever I think about being a lawyer, I just self-doubt. I just get a lot of doubts of myself and like my future. Like I see myself doing well in the future, but at the same time I don't really see my future being good. Because what if I make a mistake? What if I don't do well? Like that's always in my head. And I get those thoughts often, even if I'm like all alone or like, I mean, I'm with a group of people, the thought would suddenly just pop up, because I guess because of my anxiety or whatever. But I'm always anticipating what's gonna happen in the future. I try to be as prepared as I can because I don't want to make a fool out of myself. I don't want to look like a fucking idiot in front of people. After I said, oh, I'm gonna be a lawyer, I'm gonna be a corporate lawyer, and then after that, I'm gonna be fucking working as a cashier. Like, I don't want to look like an idiot. But like, with all that said, I really don't want to be a lawyer. Even if being a lawyer means I'm gonna live a comfortable life in a big house, I'm gonna be financially stable, but fuck that. I want to be happy. Because if I was a lawyer, most of my life would just be dedicated to my work. And what I truly love is performing and being on stage. fuck being a lawyer. I want to be happy. But like now in this current generation, the job market's pretty tough. Like even getting internships, landing a job isn't as easy as it sounds. Like maybe 20 or 30 years ago, and during this, I mean, I've applied to a couple of internships and a couple of jobs, in the past month, but I haven't heard anything back. I mean, I have a couple, but I haven't heard anything back for an interview or maybe a little talk about my position or like, about what I'm gonna about like the job in general. So I guess that's why I'm doubting myself. And being a lawyer is hard. And I don't want that. Because I don't want to disappoint people. I don't want to look like an idiot. So I would just rather stick to what I love doing, which is doing my best with what I love, which is dancing. The more that I think about dance being a job, the more that I think, oh, I'm gonna be so employed. Because, I mean, being like a backup dancer, being part of a dance crew or whatever, it doesn't really pay you. So I'm basically gonna be bankrupt with a bunch of student loans or whatever. So, but I don't really get how people diminish creative jobs and praise STEM-focused jobs. Because what do you mean? Because people think that if your job's like mainly focuses on creative writing, dancing, singing, music production, they're gonna think, oh, you're gonna be broke. That industry's like blah blah blah. Like, shut up. Just because they don't have like a 6-figure job, I mean, some do. It's just really rare. It doesn't mean they're not living their life to the fullest. Maybe they're happy with what they do. And maybe you're stuck being miserable. That's why you're taking it out on them. I mean, you're getting money and everything. You're like, maybe you're financially stable and everything. You're free from debt. But you're miserable because what you're doing, your job, you don't like it. Maybe you just have really... Maybe you're just mad, or maybe you're just sad about people who have careers that they love doing. You know, that's mainly the reason why I don't want to become a lawyer, is that I'm going to be miserable in the future. And maybe I'll end up like that. Like, maybe I'm going to, like, hate on people who have the jobs that I really want, just to make up for, like, for, like, how miserable I would be if I was gonna, like, sell my soul to, like, my career, my profession. I don't want to end up like that. I mean, I feel like I wouldn't end up like that because I appreciate everyone. I appreciate everyone. Everyone in their jobs. Like, you know what? Do what you want to do. I don't really care. If your job sounds cool to you, that's cool. But don't, like, judge other people for loving what they love and loving what they want to do. You know? And that really bugs me. I was taught by my parents that you can only have a good life if you struggle. And I'm like, does that mean I can't have a good life and at the same time enjoy the life I currently have? Like, what's the point of having to suffer? Just be miserable for the sake of money. I want money. I want to be rich, but I don't want to be sad and miserable and depressed. Like, why? I get jealous of people. I get jealous of people who have the freedom to do what they love and be appreciated for it, and at the same time get money out of it. And I think I don't really think I'm good enough for, like, to get paid a lot for, like, my creativity or whatever. But, you know, I don't really see myself in a creative direction, creative career. But at the same time, I want to be in one. Maybe in another lifetime. Maybe in another lifetime, maybe I'll succeed in, like, the direction I want to go in. But maybe in the future, maybe in the future, maybe in the future I'll succeed in the direction I want to go in, like in the direction where I'll be most happy. Maybe in another lifetime. But like, why not this one? I want to be happy in this lifetime. I want to have a future without having to